I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drone Camps channel. I'm Justin Davis. Today we're going to talk about frames, and we're going to talk about which frame you should pick out there in the jungle of the internet to build up your first FPV racer. If you haven't started FPV racing yet and you want to just dive right into it and do a build, there's a lot of frames out there, and a lot of people start out with some pretty simple style frames. I'm going to show you the simplest frame available in this selection right here to start out with, and it'll save you a little bit of cash if you start simple first. Don't go with something like a composite molded type frame. It's going to have a really sort of tight structure inside the frame. It's going to make your first build really frustrating. So I'm going to save you a lot of frustration, but most importantly today we're going to do a giveaway on the channel, and I'm going to give you a chance to win one of these frames. And actually one of the coolest frames sitting here, in my opinion, it's the iFlight Blue Dragon. It's a vertical arm mount 5-inch race quad frame that is actually pretty cool looking. It has recessed hardware on here and tons of cool options that come along with this frame, and I'm going to ship that to your door. The drawing for this one is going to be on June 28th, so check that out on the channel, and please do subscribe to be enrolled in that drawing on June 28th, because I'm going to pick from the comments below, so random name picker might pick your name. But let's go ahead and show off each of these frames and show you the different styles that are available. Also, we're going to give some advice to the new guy. Like I said, I'm going to show you that perfect frame for your first build. Now, the first frame we're going to talk about here, this is a total noob frame, and if you're just getting into FPV racing, build this frame because you will not regret it. You won't have to be putting parts on backwards, upside down, and trying to figure out the complexity of the frame itself when you're building it. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges. I've seen tons of guys out of the field with stuff on backwards, upside down, facing the wrong direction, all kinds of crazy stuff. So this is pretty much a foolproof frame, and the reason for that also is that the bottom of it is a unibody style frame. It has an X-frame configuration on it. It has recessed hardware for your stack in the middle. That's really nice. It also has optional staging for your flight controller and ESC combos down here. You can remove that, and they give you standoffs with it as well, which is super nice. And it's tall enough inside here with these 4 standoffs to accommodate something like a run cam split. And if you look at this frame from the very back, they have a few different options for mounting your antenna. You have that top mount right here, which I don't ever recommend because they always break the antenna off. The way I would do it is probably run your antenna out the back right here, maybe with some type of TPU printed mount. You can put it between these 2 posts right here, and you can do a little shorty antenna off the back of this. You would never have to worry about breaking your antenna off. And it also gives you dual mounting options for your battery. You can put your battery on top if you like it like that. It does have 2 places for a strap right here, and on the bottom it has 2 places for a strap. So this frame pretty much has everything covered for you, and makes it really simple to build and fly this one. And you also have camera options on the front end, so they do give you a camera mount that comes along with it. It has a little nut on the bottom right here, and the bolt goes through, and you can mount it from side to side. There are 3 different adjustment points on the very bottom of this, so you can put it all the way up front or all the way to the rear, depending on what type of camera you're running. And you can have it sticking out in front of these bars, but mostly I recommend having it just about just behind the 2 bars, so that gives you a little bit better protection for your camera lens in those frontal crashes. That's going to help a lot, and this frame will protect your camera quite well. And aside from a really simple frame and adjustable camera setup, dual battery options, and unibody style frame, you get a lot of accessories with this one. There's a battery protector, piece of carbon that goes on the bottom of your battery. It accommodates the straps through there, and you do have a piece of foam for the bottom of the quad for mounting your battery up against, so your battery doesn't get damaged. You also get a GoPro couch, and this looks like it's like something for a session, so you can add that on top of the quad if you want to. And you get some extra hardware along with this, and it's cool because they do give you red hardware with it, which I like. It's kind of a nice accent. It also comes with adhesive foam pads which go on the bottom of the quad when you set it down on the bench. That way you don't scratch up your bench, and it sits down quite nicely on these foam pads. And lastly, they give you a couple sheets of stickers, which is cool. You get the iFlight stickers with it, the iFlight logo, and you get the Team iFlight stickers with that bundle. But the biggest and most important thing that it comes with is the mounting hardware. So you get tons of mounting hardware in here for your ESC and flight controller stack. But this frame kit is definitely one of the cheaper ones, and probably the most popular race size out there in the community is like 200 millimeters front to rear and a true X configuration. I mean, this is just the ultimate noob frame, and the one that I would recommend for someone just starting out. So now we're moving on to composite molded style frames, and these are really neat frames. It kind of looks like a skull and crossbones, and you have a lot of different features here going on with this frame. There's a lot of thought put into the engineering of this frame. iFlight didn't just kick this one out. There's a really cool design aesthetic about this one, all the way from the back of the quad to the side of the quad, where they have a little spot for getting to your USB cable. Years ago, I had a composite style quad that came to me in the mail, and I thought, oh great, composite style quad, but the problem was it was so hard to build and it had no USB access point on it. So iFlight's done that. They put the USB access point on there. They gave you an optional hole through the top of the quad to bring your antenna out. You can do a dipole at the top of this as well if you wanted to, with like an MMCX type connector, and they have a hole in the back for the battery cables to run out. So you could flush mount that right there with an XT60, or you could have it just come back around and maybe just zip tie it off to the arm right here. But what the coolest thing I think about this frame is that they did a bottom plate that pops out. There's 4 bolts here that hold the entire stack in with your camera. So this pops out, so all of your gear should come out like this, with your wires are going to be soldered to your ESC. But if you needed to access this stack, you can just open it up like that and go right straight to your flight controller, which is nice, and take your motors off, and you can work on your entire structure inside this frame without having to remove a bunch of stuff from the upper part of the body, with the exception if you have an antenna mounted right here. But a lot of thought's gone into this one, and I think they have a pretty cool designed product here. And while these frames are kind of like gimmicky in my opinion, they do seem to have a lot of protection for all of your gear hiding inside here. So if you wanted to build up one of these frames, this would probably be your second or third build, honestly, in my opinion, because you kind of need to know what you're doing when you move on to molded style frames. But let's go ahead now and move on to the next frame in the series. Now the next frame in this series is the Rhino. That's a 5-inch vertical arm Rhino. You'll notice that these are traditional flat arms, like I showed you on the original noob frame right here, and that's totally fine. It hauls ass for what it is, with 5-inch motors. 2205s or 2206s on there. Now this one is supposed to be more aerodynamic in the direction that it's traveling, like this. Some people will argue with that. Some people like these, some people don't like them, but it's kind of a new innovation for 2018, and I think it's actually honestly kind of cool. They went the extra mile to do some recessed hardware on the bottom, blue anodized aluminum side plates, and this thing actually feels indestructible in my hand. So it's a really solid feeling, probably the most solid feeling frame out of any of the frames on this bench. And they also give you 2 optional crossbars, that one for the front and one for the back. And it's really nice because if you do crash into a race gate head on, a lot of times people break their cameras, and this will help you avoid that. If it hits the crossbar first, much better to break that crossbar than blow out your run cam. And you also get a couple iFlight battery straps in your package. With most of the iFlight frames, they do give you these straps, and they make some smaller ones for brushless micros. Hop on Amazon and find those, because those are ridiculously awesome straps. They don't ever break on me, and I've had a lot of those little ones break. Now these are extra nice too because they are plastic coated, so these are extra durable. These have held up way better than some of the ones that aren't plastic coated. So now we're moving into the larger style frames, and let's be honest, this is kind of where I'm at right now. I'm having a lot of fun with the larger style quads again, and I kind of go in revolutions with my FPV racing. I go really deep into the micros, and then I go back into the larger style frames, and this is the first larger style frame of the pack. This is the 6-inch, and this is the XL6. It's called the True X 6-inch, and it's 265 millimeter freestyle frame. So You can do freestyle or you can do mild long range with this. You're going to run a 6-inch tri-prop or a 2-bladed prop on it if you want to. It has modular replaceable arms, and what's cool about this frame is you can go on their site, you can get a variety of different size arms. So if you wanted to just reduce this one down to a 4-inch, you could run it out to a 5-inch, 6-inch, 7-inch, or even 8-inch arms to accommodate like a really long X frame, long range style of quad. This is also kind of cool. You can put some crossfire on there. But let's talk about the characteristics of this frame. It's a no frills style frame. It doesn't look super sexy at all. It does have options on the top and the bottom for bottom or top mount batteries, and it has total camera protection on the side and in the front with these 2 standoffs, so your camera is not going to get damaged if you go down into the trees. It's likely to survive just about anything. And on the back, it's pretty standard. It does have that hole for mounting a vertical antenna, or you can do TPU mount on the back and come out the back end, which is my suggestion. But a very nice modular style frame. If you're looking for a lot of options, you could have a lot of different quads in one with this one. So now you're looking at the XL8. This is the granddaddy of them all, the awesome 8-inch long range monster. You can add crossfire on this thing and go for miles and miles and just go completely crazy out in the mountains or in big open fields. You can do any type of large style motor on this one, and I just have it set up for some proximity flying because I just wanted to test this frame and fly it with a 6-inch prop that I had. I didn't actually have any 7 or 8-inch props. And what I like to do with this frame is put a much larger motor on here and run some 8-inch props on it, and make sure I have a really low kV, something like an 1850 kV motor on here is going to do a lot better longevity for the battery. So you're going to get a much longer flight time if you do it that way versus adding a super high kV, something like a 2800 kV or 2700. It's just going to give you more rotations, more speed. But with this quad, we're swinging 8-inch props, so we really don't need the speed. We just need a long flight time to get far out as we can and then come back with a safe amount of battery to land. But this one has a lot of the same options that the 6-inch has. It's pretty much the same exact frame with the exception of the sidewalls. I just have this little mount right here, and you do have a bottom point for sliding this mount forward and backward right here. You can see there's also 3 holes on each side if you want to use a different side-to-side style camera mount, and it has 2 options for sidewall plates right there. You can see those 2 little slots. And this frame does not have beveled arms or anything. This is just a bare bones style frame, but the arms are super thick. We're talking 5mm on these arms. They are really, really thick. And I went ahead and put the motor bumpers on the bottom, so when I set it down, it kind of sets down nice on the bench and doesn't scratch up my bench. But word to the wise, if you're going to build this frame, you're going to need to extend your motor wires a little further to reach your ESC. The stock motor wires are just not going to reach all the way out to this 8-inch arm, so just have some wire on hand to solder up and extend your wires over to your 4-in-1 ESC. But one of the biggest benefits of this frame is the length of it, so you can add all kinds of long range accessories on here, and I was able to actually add the run cam split in there as well, so I just wanted to show you guys that it is on there. Plenty of room in there, even with this super thick bottom plate combination down there with all the arms joining and that 3mm bottom plate that sandwiches everything in. I've still got just enough room to do that without adding spacers on the top of these posts. And on the very back, I have my VTX running out with sort of an L configuration back there because I didn't have a VTX that had a straight mount. It has a 90-degree curve on it, but one disadvantage, I'm probably going to put another VTX on this frame, especially when I go out and do some long range. I'll add, like, if I wanted to make a really long range 5.8 rig, I could do something like that AKK 1200 milliwatt. Those are like around $20, and you can get, I swear to God, you can get 3 miles with that AKK 1200 milliwatt. So look that one up as well. That's a killer VTX. But that's what they have to offer for the 8-inch frame, and a lot of people are buying this one for long range, and I think this one is actually super popular, and it's a pretty decent price. Alright guys, that's about it for the frames episode. So hopefully you learned something in this video about composite style frames, vertical arm mount frames, long range style frames, and the ultimate noob frame to start out with. Super easy 5-inch build with that one. And good luck to everyone out there that is entered into the drawing to win this vertical arm mount style quad frame. You're going to like that one. That one's super cool looking, and feels really, really solid in my hand. But thanks again for watching the channel, guys. I'm going to show you more new stuff coming up in the coming weeks. Summer has a whole ton of new stuff coming out, and manufacturers, if you're watching my channel, you want to send me a frame to review on the channel, please do send it. I will show it on the channel. Maybe I'll even do a giveaway. But good luck everybody in the drawing, and I'll see you on June 28th for that drawing, and we'll give away this vertical arm mount from iFlight. Take care, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.